Hi, this is the OnePlus Nord CE4 Lite, the successor to the CE3 Lite released about a year ago. Looking back at the CE3 Lite, it aimed to be a more budget-oriented phone that however fell a bit short on the lack of a good display as well as performance and camera not really being up to speed with the competition. So what's new with the CE4 Lite? Well, on the outside the phone sports a bit of a more serious look compared to its predecessor, and to be honest, apart from that the back lacks fingerprints, it feels pretty nice. I've tested the super silver version of the phone that also comes in a blue version named Mega Blue. Really like the creativity of naming of a phone colors. Anyway, whilst the LCD screen on the CE3 Lite was so-so, OnePlus has here thrown that completely away and replaced it with a really nice 6.67-inch AMOLED screen, an upgrade that really makes a difference. Resolution is a perfectly decently and sharp 1080x2400 pixels, and the screen supports refresh rates up to 120 Hz. Brightness is also perfectly fine with a peak one of 1200 nits. And yeah, not much to complain about here. The screen is indeed nice and sharp. Colors are natural and the viewing angles are good. The screen also has support for OnePlus Aqua Touch functionality that makes it easy to use the phone while the screen is wet-ish. Something that is actually relatively true here. Worth mentioning is also that the IP rating is 54, meaning that light rain is fine but swimming is not. Something OnePlus did not update from the last version of the phone though, or even the version before that, is the system chip that has stayed put at the Snapdragon 695. Sure, a very competent chip, but here it would have been fun to see something new. However, in combination with Android 14 and OnePlus's own Oxygen OS, everything does feel fine in terms of snappiness. Although, because the system chip is already about 3 years old, it does get you thinking a little about how future-proof the phone actually is. Sure, the promised updates are 2 major Android versions and 3 years of security updates, but still. RAM and storage though are on perfectly fine levels, with 8 and 256 GB respectively. OnePlus has also included a micro SD slot for increasing the latter later if needed. Nice! The main camera on the Nord CE3 Lite was a 108 megapixel thing that did perform decent but lacked a bit when there wasn't enough light. It also had a useless macro camera front and a depth camera for helping out with portrait bokeh effects. On the CE4 Lite, OnePlus has done the right thing and scrapped the macro camera and focused on the main one. That is now a 50 megapixel one from Sony. The extra lens for aiding with portraits is still there and does what it's supposed to do. And overall the photo experience is fine. Just like before, the camera gives relatively okay pictures that are sharp as long as the light is okay. Even in darker conditions though, the images does come out fine, however with a bit of lack of sharpness to combat the loss of light. Something that is not okay here though in 2024 is that the Snapdragon 695 keeps video recording at a measly 1080p 30 fps. Here the CE4 Lite is already way behind its competition that offers up to 4K in 30 fps and 1080 in 60 fps. Sure, there are some Snapdragon 695 phones using software to boost the speed up to 60 fps, but this usually just results in worse results. So yeah, no, there. The selfie camera with its 12 megapixel resolution though is fine. There are no super duper AI bokeh effects going on here, but it does a fair job. Using the Nord CE4 Lite does, like I've already mentioned, actually work fine in most circumstances like social media, web, YouTube, bank stuff, etc. Even gaming is decent since the Snapdragon 695 does hold up fairly well here. What is not decent though are the amount of pre-installed rubbish apps that is here worse than what I usually see on Xiaomi's phones. Not a fine direction to move here, OnePlus. Of course you can still remove everything, but still. Oxygen OS is otherwise okay and there's nothing really bothering me about it. Something that did came to mind though when using the phone is that both the volume buttons and the screen lock button is relatively hard to push down compared to most phones I've tested in recent years. Something that does leave a bit of a cheaper impression compared to the otherwise nice look and feel. Battery life is great with about 2 days of normal use, and the phone supports fast charging up to 80 watts and a full charge takes about 50 minutes. However, there is no included wall plug in the box. A fun thing here is that the phone also has support for reverse charging, meaning that you can plug in another thing, phone or whatever, in the charging port and then use the CE4 Lite as a power bank. However, and for some incredibly odd reason, this is activated by turning on the OTG setting, which I feel is so odd that I suspect that OnePlus almost forgot to put in a real button for this function under the battery section. But yeah, it can be done, so that's good. Also good is the inclusion of a 3.5mm headphone jack. However though, to sum it up, up here, even though the screen is vastly improved, the camera is fine, and the price of €329 or £299 is decent, the Nord CE4 Lite doesn't really make it all the way. On its very own, it is an absolutely fairly okay phone, albeit with a somewhat old system chip, lack of 60 FPS for Full HD video, and some concerns regarding future-proofness. But unless you really love the design, that is in all fairness nice, the CE4 Lite has already been passed by several similarly priced competitors, like for example the excellent Phone 2a from Nothing or the Xiaomi 13 Pro, to mention a few. So those are my thoughts on the OnePlus Nord CE4 Lite. Please share any of your thoughts or questions down in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, bye!